right, how you doing, everybody? So look, I had been playing for quite some time, and all along there was something right under my nose that I never took the time to figure out or notice or learn, or maybe I had seen it and it didn't jive with me at the time and I just passed it by. I now call it the secret fret, okay? And in that fret, there's just so much valuable tools to use, especially for us that play open chords most of the time. Maybe not so much raw beginners because you're still trying to figure out your chords and everything. But as you start playing chords and adding chords, open chords to your repertoire and playing them quite well, there's something that you really need to pay attention to and get it into your repertoire. It will change everything. It's the glue that holds all the open position stuff together, right? What is it? It's actually called, and this isn't my name for it, it's actually called the second fret. Let's take a look at it. All right, so I had been playing, and I'm an open chord player, and I'd been playing open chords for quite some time. I was out of beginnership, but still just playing open chords. But now I had added to my repertoire. I knew a lot of open chords. I was playing them quite seamlessly, and I had a pretty good, I was working on my strum patterns and getting things down, but looking back, I was very tardy at that. Everything was slow for me at the beginning. And, I was playing and everything, and all along, this fret was right under my nose, and I just didn't understand, the importance of it, okay? Now, this isn't a guitar thing or a music thing. This is a me thing, okay? As soon as I discovered this, and I had been playing for years before I did discover this, as soon as I discovered it, it was like a whole new world kind of opened up for me, all right? So this fret right here just happens to be right in the middle of the three frets that we use to play all of our open chords, right? And some people will stay there for their whole guitar playing lives, and that's just fine, right? So this fret here has a lot of stuff going on. So let's take a look, right? So right off the bat, it's the fret that we play our A major chord in, and we play it exclusively within that fret. All the notes are within that fret. Some people play it like this. I tend to play it with a one-finger bar. Some people kind of get their hands in there like that. They get all kind of scrunch them in there like that. Either way, it's all self-contained within the second fret. We also have this little split A chord that we leave the middle string unfretted, and that's like an A7, okay? Now, we'll often use that along with E7 and D7 to play, kind of bluesy kind of chord progressions, right? So that's all within that fret. We have our E minor chord that is played within that fret. And then we have 2/3 of a D chord, and it's these two right here. Of course, if we bring up our ring finger, we have a full D. And of course, if we use maybe the G note on that high E string, we have a different version of the chord. And then again, we can use both fingers here. So we have the beginnings of that D chord all within that second fret as well. But most importantly, we've got these little nuggets, right? Now, this is so important. It's these 6 notes right here. It's open 5 string, fretted 5 string, open 4, fretted 4, open 3, fretted 3, all in the second fret, okay? Now, you don't really need to know what those notes are, right? They're B, E, and A, but you don't really have to know. You just got to know that they sound good. And most importantly, these notes, played either open as an open string or a fretted note, they're like the glue or the stitch that holds everything together that we do here in the open position, okay? So when we start thinking of things like we've covered walk-ups and walk-downs, real basic, right? Remember we went from a C to a G and back, like that kind of stuff, okay? All right, so these are all those notes that I'm talking about, right? In the intro, you saw me open up with, right? That's all these notes here. Now, sometimes when you're lost and you need to get from down here to up there, all you got to do is just... These notes connect everything, and they're also very involved in all the open chords we play. So C, D, A minor, E, you know, you name it. Those one more or many of those notes of the chords come from the middle of that second fret. So it's really, really an important fret for open chord players, and that's what we are for the majority of our guitar playing journey, right? Some of us will branch off to bar chords or all things different completely, like electric guitar and power chords and playing scales and stuff like that. But you know what? This right here is so important to learn at an early stage. Now, I didn't do that. I've been playing about 4 or 5 years before all of a sudden I realized how important this fret was and what goes on in that fret. So again, I call it the secret fret. It's actually the second fret. Okay? And remember, you're only limited by your creativity and your ability. So that's the whole thing. If you haven't done this before, now you're going to you got a little bit of a learning curve going on. But if you've been playing for a while, right, and you're playing open chords and maybe fretting the odd note here and there, but even not, if you're just playing open chords, it will not take you long to get your fingers around the whole... Okay? And it's going to take some time. So what I would do is I would start really slow, okay? Maybe fret, I use a combination of this finger and my middle finger, all right? Because that's where most of the stuff is going to happen when you're playing your open chords. So what I do is, like, I'll sort of just go up and down those strings. I'll play them open and fretted with my forefinger or my trigger finger, my pointer finger, like that. Then I'll switch it up. And along the way, you know, I'm going to try to make some melodies out of it whenever possible. And then eventually I'm going to start transitioning into chords. So, for example, if I'm on my pointer finger, I might try something like that. And if I'm using my big finger, I might try something like that, right? There's all kinds of combinations that we can do just for practice, okay? So these notes, for those of you that really want to know, all right, I mentioned that they were B, E, and A. And they're all notes from the E minor pentatonic scale, but they're also notes from the G minor pentatonic scale, because G major and E minor are relative cousins, okay? So that means, so basically E minor is a relative minor to G major, and every major chord has a relative minor. And what that means is, well, first of all, it's always the sixth chord. You remember how we number chords in a key, right? So G would be 1, then A would be 2, and B 3, and C 4, and D 5. Well, a form of E would be 6, and because it's a sixth chord, it's actually a minor chord, right? So basically what we have here, okay, is the relative minor of the G is E minor, and that means that they share the same notes in the scale. So this scale that we learned, this pentatonic scale, which is where all those middle notes come from right there, are from those two scales. All right. So I wanted to point this out to you because there is some really good picking there, and it is definitely the fret that holds everything together on these 3 frets. So if you are a guitar player that loves to play open chords, you've got to start exploring that fret. Get those notes out of there. Add them into your little embellishments and runs and walk-ups and walk-downs, and your guitar playing will definitely go to another level. Right? So I hope this helps. Okay? And like everything, it's just a starting point. It's just to point out to you that there is something there. Now it's up to you to go and figure out how you're going to use this newfound treasure, all right? Have fun with it. Bye for now.